Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we are going to take a close look at the Mortal Kombat Bartop that I found with Dragonfly Amusement. Here on the channel I review all kinds of stuff that is related to games, retro gaming and also arcade machines. But I'm also just curious and fascinated what kind of products are they making in China, because these are custom Bartops and including with coin operating system, and this machine comes with a Raspberry Pi built inside with no SD card, but nevertheless we have a complete kit, and I just wanted to show you guys what are we going to get and how good is the quality of nowadays arcade cabinets. I own myself quite some different arcade machines. I built some machines and also just checked it out with some stores, just I'm doing now. And the reason why I just wanted to show you what's out there, what are the possibilities when it comes to buying an arcade machine. In this video we're going to talk about the Bartop, but also with these things there are so many differences. They maybe look alike if you're looking on the picture, but I can tell you when you're going to get up close to these machines, you will notice straight away there are quite some different versions when it comes to the way how they're made. There are quite minor differences. The other ones has just basic 4x3 very horrible LCD displays inside. But this version is a very deluxe version, and I'm going to show you what I mean with this. Alright, so let's start with the button layout. So we're going to get the 6 button layout similar with Pandora's boxes, with the coin button and the start button, or also the select and start. Both plays at the same layout. But I did notice that this thing comes with some awesome light up feature buttons, but take in consideration that these are just high quality buttons, not like these wiggle buttons I've seen with some Pandora's boxes, not to be compared like that. These things are playing very well. So when you're looking at the light up feature, I think it looks pretty cool, but that's of course my personal taste. So the joystick itself is in Sanwa and you can hear it. It sounds good, and I can tell you this thing plays very well, but later on we shall do some gameplay. And the button, same story. It's a long travel button, so that is something you really need to take consideration if you're a purist when it comes to arcade parts. Okay, so I think all of these Bartops or pinball machines have maybe the same amplifier, just a basic Chinese amplifier that has, I think it was around 2 times 20 watt output, where we can adjust the treble, bass, the audio, and the quality is pretty decent. Okay, so let's take a close look at the Marquee, because personally I like the Marquee, the way how it looks, but the light up feature is not that great in my opinion. When you're looking very closely you can see the 2 mounts where the Marquee is put on, so they're more like a little bit of a bummer. If you're looking at the Marquees of the arcade one-up nowadays, those look perfectly light up. But okay, so let's talk about the quality of the decals, because here we're going to get a noticeable difference between all these Chinese arcade cabinets. So that is more like when you're having different resellers, it doesn't even matter where, but it is more like where did they buy it and what kind of cabinets did they order. Because if you're looking at the decals itself and the sticker quality, this is more like this very thick vinyl sticker, and I do like this because this is an, I can say, dual of wear and also for scratching. I think this will look great, but it will look great after a couple of times when you accidentally touch it or bump it. But nevertheless, I think that's pretty cool, and that's what we're going to get with the biggest differences between all these cabinets, the quality of the vinyl stickers. So if you're looking at the previous model I have reviewed here on the channel, a notable difference is the LCD display. Better said, this is an IPS version and it looks very crisp and clear. Also the view angle is way better than the previous model, and we're having a widescreen. The widescreen will not be a big of a deal, simply because when you're using it with a Raspberry Pi 4 you can always use the bezels if you want to, or force it back to 4x3 if you want to have more like the original aspect ratio with the arcade games, and of course 8-bit and 60-bit games. Okay, so to begin with, in the inside we're going to find the storage where you can find all the coins, basic way to lock it, but it works like a charm. The power strip, the power supply, especially for the lighter buttons, yeah seriously. So at the right side we're having the coin mechanism that you can see over here. So with this widescreen version, we're also having the options to connect differently with the previous model that only had VGA, if I'm recalling it correctly. But this one also has DVI and also having, of course, the HDMI that is very convenient in combination with the Raspberry Pi. Or if you want to upgrade it with something else, you can just plug it in very easily. So this is what you're going to get with the newer models. At the top you can find the menu button, the volume control, auto config, and the power on and off. This version did come with a Raspberry Pi 4GB edition without an SD card and games, but it does have this special cooling element, as you can see with the 2 tiny very silent fans. I really like this thing. Okay, and the power supply is just a typical power supply you can find in an old school arcade machine. It's very convenient. It's only for the powering on, the LEDs for the buttons, but it's just pure for that. And here we're having a 12 volt for powering on the monitor itself, but there are some modifications where you can do with these power supplies. So what I do like about this bar top, that it has more like 2 LED strips RGB on the bottom that goes automatically fade in, fade out. So far I know you cannot change the light up feature in a certain color or pattern. This is just what you're going to get with this. I think it's pretty cool when you're going to put it on the table. It gives an extra effect. It's a gimmick you don't see with every bar top. Alright, so let's talk about the main board, the Raspberry Pi number 4. Nowadays when you're going to get yourself an arcade machine, I think most people will use a Raspberry Pi 4 or a Pandora's box. I did see some Pandora's boxes in my previous reviews of cabinets, but I must say that it depends also what kind of Pandora's box you're going to get. Nevertheless, I did a full review, testing videos. I have so much stuff around Pandora's box, but let's focus on the Raspberry Pi 4. So the Raspberry Pi 4 is just a great piece of hardware, and I really like what they did with this tiny mainboard, because you can play so many things like Commodore 64, Atari, NES, Super NES, Mega Drive, up to PlayStation 1 and even nowadays Sega Dreamcast. So let's say you can play even more like Naomi, but you need to take consideration with Nintendo 64, Sega Dreamcast and Sega Naomi, it's still a work in progress. A lot of games are running very well, but it's not perfect. It's not perfect, so they just need to take consideration, but the same goes with the Pandora's box. But I think the Raspberry Pi 4 is maybe a great way to go to when it comes to playing some games on your arcade machine. Use it like a game console. So I can completely understand when people are just choosing the Raspberry Pi 4 for inside their arcade machine, because it gives you a tons of new possibilities to play old school games, but also more like the newer games. And yeah, let's be honest, the Raspberry Pi gives you a lot of freedom to do what you want to do with it. And with the Pandora box, for example, you're just stuck with the stuff that you're going to get, and it includes the emulators and all the bugs that comes with it.
Scorpion, win. Round 2, fight. Sub-Zero wins. Flawless victory.
Hey, come here!
Thanks. Take me to the cable car up on the
Okay,
hill.
hang on.
Ha ha ha! Come on, let's go. Can't you be more...
Okay guys, so that was the overview and review of the Mortal Kombat cabinet, or the custom cabinet from our friends from China. So basically it was a package from China. But okay, nevertheless, thanks for watching guys. It would be great to have you here in the show, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell, become the Wicked family, and I will see you in the next video.